Hi, welcome to this week's webinar. I've got the amazing Patricia with me. Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thank you so much for joining me. Patricia is an independent consultant. She specialises in guest journey, and she's come to join us today to talk more about service menu design. Because I know that sometimes it's coming up to the beginning of the year in January, people think, what are we going to do next? How can we make our menus more interesting? So I wanted to get someone who's specialised to come in and tell us more. So over to you, Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, so much. Thank you for inviting me. So, hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Patricia, and I'm really excited to share with you today my approach to designing service menus that truly can inspire not just us, the leadership teams, but both our guests and, of course, our teams. And this is really something that I'm passionate about personally, like Sarah, you just mentioned, because I've seen how the right menu can transform a business experience for everyone involved. So, let me share a bit about my background. I've been in the industry for over 15 years, and what really drives me is understanding the whole guest journey, how someone discovers you, your services, your property, their experience throughout, and the impression they leave with. And I work with quite a range of properties: wellness members club, longevity biohacking clinic, aesthetic clinics, and of course spas. And I would say my approach is really about combining the practical operational side with understanding what makes a great guest experience. And I truly believe that service menus plays such an important role in that overall journey. So, what is service menu? What exactly it is? Well, first, definitely, it's not just a list of services. And I see it functioning as your primary marketing tool and working 24/7 to sell what you offer, even when you sleep. So every menu reflects brand experience, whether that's luxury, clinical, wellness focused, or boutique. And of course, it houses your pricing structure in a way that guide guest decisions. I love to give an example that menu is like a living organism. It's alive, it's ever changing. I always love to think what to add, what to remove by analyzing certain KPIs. So, and also, how this tool, how this organism can travel throughout the property. So, why our menus matter? Um, so, it's often the first impression that guests get before they even walk through your doors. And I'll give you an example with restaurant. Probably many of us, we've been wandering on the streets in south of France or Italy or Portugal, and we go into beautiful little street to have a dinner. And there's so many beautiful cafes and restaurants, and they all have menus, and some of them they're so overwhelming. It's like a Bible, it's like encyclopedia. Some of them they have maybe beautiful names, but the photos maybe they look a little bit tacky, even though they may have amazing chef inside the kitchen. So, and some, restaurants, they have super simple menu. They highlight their heroes, they highlight their signatures. Menu looks clean or beautiful color scheme, beautiful copywriting. And it's already, it gives us a feeling and it's inviting. So, like I said, our menu acts as a brand ambassador, working for us 24/7 in the morning, in the lunchtime, afternoon, evening. And it shapes guest emotions from, the business perspective. Of course, it drives revenue through the upsells, dynamic pricing, retail, our add-ons. And it's a touch point that either delights and inspires or reinforces your positioning. And for your team, it provides clarity, efficiency, and helps them to work towards their strengths and expertise. And of course, it keeps competitive by reflecting what makes us different from others, especially in that street where we're making our decisions. So the key factors that I love personally to consider before I design personally, menus. I always look at these 5 key factors. Of course, there are so many more, but I believe these are the key factors. Is first to understand the business model, the location. Are you hotel spa? Are you resort? Are you urban day spa, medical spa? Are you destination retreat, right? Are you more rural or in the city? Also, do you serve local clients or just hotel guests? Is it high turnover or longer stays in the hotel? Then for target market, I really love to dive deep and look at the age, gender, if this information, of course, is available, the guest spending behavior, cultural background, language preferences. And are they looking for escape? Are they looking for efficiency, results, transformation, or maybe preventative health and just overall wellness? So also, I think it's important to look at the competitive landscape, do some mystery shopping. What do nearby businesses do and comparable, spas offer? What do they charge? What are their best sellers? Do they have unique rituals? What's the uniqueness? And in terms of the brand, I think brand positioning asks, is the spa luxury, holistic, medical? Is it accessible wellness? Or is it more traditional or super trendy? So I aim to align menu to reflect that brand DNA. And of course, finally, operations and budget. Can you deliver what you're promising with your current team? And product selection. Does the product houses, they reflect your philosophy? For example, you use local ingredients and you are very remote and you use very scientific skincare. So look into these factors, I would say. Now, this one is like key principles and key fundamentals. Whether you are creating a brand new menu or redesigning an existing one, I believe these elements are what I find most exciting about the menu design. And I always ask myself, do I know the answers to these principles of the business? Do I know why this property exists? Do I know why this wellness space or spa exists? What's the vision long term? What's the mission? What's our philosophy, right? And what's the unique proposition? Is it clear enough for the guest? And I think these principles is like foundation for every menu design. They give you long-term storytelling. If you, let's say, are designing new menu or redesigning, usually there is marketing team, right? Or brand team who can give you maybe a brand book and you can look into that. Maybe restaurant has a story, hotel has a story, so your spa can continue the story. If you're not hotel spa, you are clinic, look into these and do homework. I think this is like a fundament before you even design your menu, answering these questions. And I find that it's so beautiful when menu authentically reflect these principles. And I ask what I want to highlight and communicate. Am I urban? Again, I'm repeating myself, but am I rural? Am I more ritualistic? Is it heritage focused? Is it shamanic and soulful? Is it doctor-led, expertise driven? So these elements should shine throughout your menu design. Okay, so now let's move more into the structure. And I think there is no right or wrong here, and there are so many creative ways to organize your menu beyond the traditional categories. I love seeing how different structures can completely change how guests navigate their choices and how that can impact their experience and their decision. And I believe that it's really important to understand why certain treatments in that particular order and explain the thought process of it. So it's not scattered, but there's a lot of thought behind it. And I can explain every treatment and answer the question why it's on the menu. Because longer term is easier to stack them, it's easier to recommend them. And even if you change product houses, you have like a structure. And I would put focus on intention over equipment. So now we will move to trends. Everyone loves trends.
We all do, you're right.
We all love trends. And, I'm always so excited to explore trends and how they can enhance menu. And sometimes I believe we can get lost, like finding some new trends. Um, I'm always aware of them, but I try not to lose the principles that we spoke about and not to lose the backbone of the property, of the menu, of the philosophy. And I love selecting trends that align with brand positioning, with these principles that we spoke in the previous slides, rather than just following, what's super popular, because what's popular and trendy can go away. So key trends that don't change at the moment, I believe, is hyper-personalization, those tailored experiences, mental well-being, emotional wellness, energy work is growing, and conscious beauty focusing more on results-driven treatments. Of course, men's wellness, teen offerings are expanding. Again, here, I think I would think, do I have expertise on, in my property to deliver those? Of course, biohacking, longevity is really big now, multi-sensory journeys and add-ons. And I'm really seeing growth in those wellness journeys, couples experiences. People love to come to spas and wellness spaces to socialize now, either it's with your loved ones or with your co-workers, and they really crave those experiences. So I would say here it's important to focus on selecting trends that strengthens your core positioning, but not following much of a trend. And if your budget is tight, I would ask myself, and I always do, can I offer something without too much of investment? Because to do hyper personalization, you don't need much of investment, right? And what ROI this might bring if I will introduce X, Y, or Z, this technology or a new product. So now let's move to naming and copywriting and format of the menu. It might sound simple, but it's not. And this is one of my favorite aspects where I'm super careful when I design the menus. Of course, it's a creative process of naming and describing treatments, but I truly believe that language chosen can completely transform how guests perceive and connect with your services and your property.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, sometimes you see menus, like I said, it's like encyclopedia, and they just lose the interest. So clarity here is the key. And I believe that benefit-led descriptions that inspire, not overpromise, they sound inclusive, language is super welcoming, with tone aligned, again, with your brand, whether that's clinical, luxurious, elegant, or maybe more soulful, or something else entirely. So also, how does that sound for international guests? Consider dual language options. I think these days they're essential. Think, of the surrounding markets who come and visit your property. Format-wise, I consider print menus that are luxurious, tactile, beautifully branded. Of course, digital versions need to be QR friendly and easy to update. And those are great if you want to make quick and small changes or do your pricing. Personally, I love hybrid approach, and I find these work really well. So, for example, you can have beautiful printed teaser menu with a full digital version uploaded online. And again, think about who are your guests, who is your target audience. So merging those old-fashioned approaches, with print
Yes.
menu, with
Yeah.
digital, I believe that would serve more guests, digital nomad and your, I don't know, maybe local, elegant, loyal guests who comes to visit you.
Mm.
Of course, let's not forget, booking instructions, our policies, our etiquette. Let's communicate it, very clearly, because I believe it shows respect to your team, to your property, and to guests. Now, visuals. I think everything needs to represent the brand. Remember my example with a restaurant menu? You might have amazing chef, but if you put I don't know, butterflies or just flowers, but the brand is super luxurious. Think about that. I believe looking at the menu and reading any service menu, guests should understand, and it's on the slide. What is this menu about? What is this treatment about? Who is it for? Is it for me or not? How does it work? How does this treatment work? What are the benefits, how I'm going to feel after this treatment and during this treatment, right? How long does it take? What's my investment? And how I can book, of course, if it's digital menu. So I think menu needs to evoke emotions. It needs to give you a feeling. It shouldn't be super static. Yeah. So now I think it's very important to touch on this. I believe menu has two sides. So one is guest facing, another is team facing. It's like your front office and back office. So your guest always sees front office. Yeah, it's paper, digital. They want clear navigation. Our guests, they need inspiration, clarity. However, our teams, I think they need practical information so they can feel confident, they can share their knowledge, their internal gifts, they can expertise, etc. So when we get this balance right, it creates really positive experience for everyone. And what I mean by the team facing and back office is having very clear service protocols, your SOPs, your training plans, team knows by heart like a prayer, your treatments, the price points, how to stack the treatments, which add-ons work well. I love to create like little guides. So this treatment works with this treatment works with that, etc. So that brings me to pricing strategy. And pricing strategy, I believe, starts with knowing what requires to perform the treatment, understanding and knowing your low cost and high profit treatments, as these become the menu anchors that drive profitability, of course. And I try to match pricing to perceived value, brand positioning, and local benchmarks. Dynamic pricing works well, as we know, weekdays versus weekends, peak times versus off-peak, and seasons make sense. So packaging and stacking experiences naturally increases spend, and guests often perceive packages, I think, as a better value, even than margins are protected, right? So for hotel spas, bundling with rooms or your F&B creates compelling offers and increases revenue per guest overall. So what else I should add here? Add-ons and express services, I think, are profit boosters. Think about those. You can even have like a separate menu for your add-ons. You cannot even put in your main menu, and you can keep changing your add-ons and really see what works, what doesn't work for your property, such as 15-minute scalp massages, or I don't know, product enhancement. I believe they significantly impact the bottom line. with minimal additional cost.
Yes, yes,
So retail, we love our retail.
yes.
We
Very
love
important.
retail. Yes. There's so much we can do with it. And retail integration, I think it's about creating natural connections that support the treatment experience at home. And we just need to understand that. End of the story. And what I witnessed, and you probably will agree, Sarah, that retail attachment can really increase revenue per guest. And some properties I saw like 20, 30%. So it's really significant.
Mm,
And with many upgrades that work beautifully, like I mentioned, scalp massage, your LED face mask, hand and feet masks, I don't know, hot stones. These enhance the treatment whilst adding a value to a guest. And I love bundling services with recommended treatments and products. But here is also, I think, important to understand why these connections are made and do they make sense, not just push the product. Because I believe our guests, they really feel that when we push something. So it need to really make sense, and we need to understand why I am extending the journey at home, why I'm adding something to the treatment. So the key is educating the team to naturally link everything to that treatment, hair
mm,
care, home care, and add-ons. And when team understand the treatment benefits, when they feel confident in product knowledge and can truly and genuinely explain how home care extends those results, retail just becomes really like natural extension, natural game of the service experience.
definitely.
So now my favorite one is
Brilliant.
creating signature treatments and programs. And this is so signature treatments, programs, rituals, whatever we call it, our hero treatments. It's a space where we can really shine. And these are services that can make our spa, clinic, resort super unique and memorable. I believe it's a space, an opportunity to showcase not just our creativity, imagination, but expertise.
Mm,
And it's truly a space to create something what you will be known out there in the world and remembered for. Uh, I truly enjoy to develop signatures that reflect brand story, location, while creating something that guests can't experience anywhere else. And
mm,
again, with this one, I think there is no rush because you have to do it right. And it can come with time once you know your strengths, your team's strengths, once you analyze your KPIs, you can really create something extraordinary here. And I would even say an award winning, because, if you create amazing program, amazing protocol of the ritual, you really understand how to stack different protocols,
mhm.
and it changes someone's life, I would be bold and go after an award.
One of the best treatments I've ever had was a signature treatment from a spa who had used their team's specialisms and skills to create the most incredible 90-minute experience. So I agree. I think this can really be a winner for a treatment menu if done correctly.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because sometimes, like we all do massages, but maybe we have extraordinary masseuse, or we use
Mm,
local, or we add something even for spas. If you use scientific skincare, let's say, you can still put some spa elements into the protocol. So talk with your product houses, and you can maybe together create something amazing. Yeah, so
mm.
thank you for sharing that. Um, here, okay, so I love to think how the spa menu can support entire guest journey. So from initial discovery, like I said, throughout and post-visit. And where is that connection? And our menu can be a guide that enhances every touch point of the experience on the property. So I always think how my menu will serve before the arrival. They haven't even been here. Can the digital menu be sent with a, I don't know, room booking confirmation? Can I add a voucher, digital voucher? What's the journey like when they check in? Can they get to scan a QR code when they're checking in? Can front of house give them leaflet? What is it like in room? How does my spa menu serve in the room? Like literally on the side. Can I present a teaser menu? Can I also put a beautiful mini leaflet with QR code and our specials in the room? Can I upload on TV? So in the spa is a huge opportunity. Like we have locker opportunity, welcome message. Also, it can be therapist-led curation. For example, if our guest is lost, we can offer maybe discovery conversation, not consultation, but discovery conversation to explore our menu and our rituals and our story. Maybe we can keep add-ons in the actual spa treatment rooms. Maybe we can highlight in the lockers or shower area our signatures and hero treatments. So it's much more we can do. And of course, after the treatment, their journey doesn't finish with retail recommendation. For example, what's their goodbye moment like? Can we gift a tiny gift? I don't know, they did maybe facial. Can we introduce that little gift to our hammam or our massage therapist or set programs? So, for example, in one property, what we're doing after the journey, we put little leaflets, we personalize them, and we check the guest data. And if they have never done body treatment, we put something that reflects our body treatments and for example, a little sachet of body products and a leaflet saying what body treatments we do. So let's move now to operational considerations, as they are crucial for menu success. You know, we can have beautiful print menu, we can have beautiful, design. However, I believe our therapist skill must align with the menu and ensure treatments match current team expertise, while always identifying training needs and new offerings. Hence, I love always having training plans and following them. Also, room availability matters. You know, treatments shouldn't require unique setups unless they're highly profitable and justify the space limitation. Timing buffers are essential, of course, you know, building in proper transition time between treatments. I think it prevents rushing and maintains quality. For buffer times, and we have situations when either guest is running late or therapist is running late, have something in your property so you can entertain the guest. There is so much more tech now, so I don't know, tech shoulder massage, feet massagers, and put your guest on those just to give value and change the whole situation from running late to treating them to something. So yeah, and then with team engagement, I love that because it's our people, you know. They create the magic, and when team feels connected to and excited the menu, I genuinely believe that enthusiasm naturally transfers to guests. So I co-create menu ideas with the team, and you might have your structure, you might have your idea, you've done, you know, all the principles, you know everything, but ask them. And they often have best insights about what guests are asking for, especially if you're redesigning your menu. And you can find some brilliant ideas there. And like I said, ongoing training on benefits, on upgrades is essential because confidence sells. When your team is confident, what's on the menu, selling is so natural. So I love to empower teams with scripts, suggestions, so they feel prepared for any conversation. And I would say we have to recognize our team, our top performers, and those who gather guest feedback and share with management team, because feedback, I believe, is a currency, and it
Mm.
really helps us to make some key decisions. Either it's new add-ons, either our guests are asking for certain, I don't know, technology or product. So yeah,
Mm.
recognize your team and involve them. I always do that. So this really captures, I think this slide is what I believe about the menus. They're strategic tools that can transform our businesses when approached thoughtfully. And a great menu tells our story that inspires our guests and empowers our teams. So yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sarah, and thank you for everyone who listened to this. I am grateful to have been able to share these insights with you. And of course, I wish everyone the best in creating new menus, redesigning menus that truly inspire both your guests and your teams.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, I love that ending. Thank you. Your presentation is beautiful.
Thank
I would say, yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And I think that that's part of the appeal of your presentation, but also when people put treatment menus together as well, isn't it? Service menus is having them catch your eye and make you want to learn and look more. And I really also appreciated that when you're talking about how we structure the menu, because particularly in spa, it's facials and a treatment, massages, but actually there's much more to it, and talking about the strategy and it being a tool. I think when we're doing a new concept or a new business, it very much focuses on the interior, selecting the massage couch, but very little focus is done on something that's so very important. And like you say, it's the first thing your guest sees. It's the thing that draws them in at a time when there are so many businesses or who have similar facilities. Something that can really stand your business apart is having a great service menu.
Absolutely.
What is the biggest mistake you see businesses making with their service menus? If you were to have a look out there, what are the things that really stand out to you?
Good question. I would say treating menu just as a price list rather than, like you
Mm,
said, strategic business tool. And again, like you said, I also see beautiful properties with gorgeous out of breath facilities, but the menu doesn't reflect the brand positioning or guide guests toward the right treatments and the right decisions. So menu should tell your story and make it easy both for your guest and your team to navigate choices very confidently.
Yeah, you're right about the price list one as well, where you'll often work with a brand, you'll pick 10 treatments, put them in, like I say, facials, massage, hands and feet, and just put them in and price them up. And they don't necessarily show the benefits or tie into the property. Yeah, I can see how that is probably one of the biggest mistakes we all make.
Yeah.
And then also I love the fact that you touched on this, and you say, and how for you important is it that staff and team training is in place when it comes to menu implementation? I guess that's a really important factor.
I think it's absolutely crucial. I mean, team needs to understand not just um, what each treatment is, but who is it perfect for and why.
Mm,
If someone wants to feel energized after the visit, maybe they don't really want to do aromatherapy massage, they want some energy. So uh,
mm,
when therapists and our front desk team can naturally explain the benefits and suggest appropriate treatments, I truly believe the booking rates increase significantly. And
mm,
I recommend that team members actually experience at least like key treatments, our signature treatments themselves. We all had massage, but maybe certain facials or certain add-ons or biohacking tools, high-tech tools. If you can't do that and you're really tight on time and in your schedules, put it in your monthly, quarterly allocation. There is nothing like personal experience to build that genuine enthusiasm and that selling confidence. So also product knowledge, when you have a free minute, and there is always a free minute, test it and share it. Test your treatments, experience them, learn more about the products you use, share. And what I personally do when you have your retail shelves, I say to the teams, each product has a story and a history.
Mm.
So people buy stories and have history. So if I pick up X product, tell me what's the story behind, not just ingredients, not how to use it. What's the story? Do you know
Yeah.
any story? My sister used it and she saw X. One of our loyal guests, she loves it because. So, and during team briefs and meetings, share your wins, what you bundled, what worked, and amplify on that. And again, have training plans, not just to onboard your team, but to refresh the knowledge. I mean, even if we have, long serving team members, there is always something new to share. There is always a product that we can put like a new story to the product, a new experience to the treatment. And also, I love to think not just my spa clinic team, but what are other departments? Go and talk to them. You know,
Yes.
they might not know your treatment menu by heart, but what are your signatures? What are your short treatments? Again, but once you know your key principles, your fundament and your guess, maybe you're really high on, I don't know, travelers and your urban spa, city spa. Your hotel front of house should know your quick treatments.
Yes.
So go and talk to
Yes.
them. Every department, yeah, even your F&B team.
I I think that's so important. I think it's one of the missed tricks. People train the reception team, they might train the sort of call center to know more about the treatments, but actually things like your F&B team and especially your front of house team in the hotel are absolutely brilliant places to share your treatment menu. Someone checks in. And also I love that you touch on upselling. What goes with each treatment is so important because it may only be 20-30 pounds here, but actually when you start upselling regularly, it's a really good way of boosting your revenue but also letting them know what they upsell with, rather than just going, here's this treatment, here's a list of upsells, and then they look at the two and they're like, which one goes with which?
Yeah, absolutely. And even I'll share one example from one hotel spa. Um, you have guests who don't like touch, right? They
Mm,
don't like massages. So we bought high tech feet massages and neck massages. So for guests who are in the rush and who don't
mm.
like human touch or they're intimidated to go into treatment room, you can always have a solution with all the modern tools that we have now out there.
Yeah, and especially but also on showing people how to even spa correctly. I noticed you put that in there as well. How to use the thermal suite, how to do hot and cold, and that sort of piece for longevity, because I think people are more savvy, but do they know what to do? Not necessarily. It's very popular to see people in saunas and plunge pools on Instagram, but actually defining a circuit or taking a guided circuit, putting in Sauna Master on your service menu. There's so much you can do, isn't there, for people who don't want to be touched in the traditional massaging sense. So I think that's a really key thing, is to start to open up service menus to those people. I know quite a few people who I just don't like going to spas because I don't want to be touched. That's a really interesting.
Yeah.
And what's your advice for property owners or managers who want to update their menus but don't know where to start?
Hmm. Um, I would say start with your foundations and be crystal clear about your brand positioning and really understand who your guests are and who you are, what's your business,
Mm,
again, what's your philosophy, what's your mission, what's your why you exist in the world, like what's your differentiation in the market. This is, if you really know that, I think then natural flow happens. Once you have that backbone, that fundament, it just happens naturally. The answers, they naturally come. And then if you're redesigning, of course, audit your current menu against, again, those principles, and ask, um, does this menu reflect who we are? Does it make easy for guests to choose why I have this and that treatment within my offering? Which treatments categories bring me most value in the business? Which
mm,
bring most value to the guest? Do I know the data? Do I know the feedback? So also, I think, look what's out there and understand what's your team expertise, like you mentioned about the sauna, master. And can my team sell confidently these treatments in the menu? What doesn't work? I would say hire a consultant if you struggle, who can help you navigate.
yeah.
Um, and I think small changes, like don't overthink it, but understand your foundations and ask as many questions as you can yourself. And then what I find is that these small, tiny changes in its organization and language and presentation can make a huge difference before you even consider adding anything new on your treatment menu.
Mm, I think that's really important with the foundations. The interesting thing I notice is that when a spa first launches, they really do have those foundations in place, and then you go back 5 years, and and maybe they were, I don't know, a spa built with sustainability as one of their foundations and hands-on and etc. And then they've taken on a piece of equipment because, as you mentioned in one of your slides, it's trendy. They've put it into their menu. They've then started adding different things into their services menu, and all of a sudden they've lost that foundation, and it then starts to not make sense. What is differentiating your spa when you launch it originally is that you really have this foundation in place, and then someone goes back 5 years later and they're like, well, that's not the spa I came to originally. And that's because over time people evolve the service menu but don't tie it back, as you say, to that foundation base. So over time, you become, I would say, and this is my view from going to some spas in this situation, is you become a generic business
Yeah.
because you're offering a bit of everything, but you're not really specializing or showcasing what your foundation concept is. So I think it's interesting wherever anyone is, whether you're a new build concept or you're looking to refresh your service menu, that you really need to know what those foundations are. I think that's an incredibly strong piece of advice to give anyone wherever they are on that service journey.
Yeah, I totally agree, Sarah. Is don't be everything for everyone,
Yeah.
know your why. Like it's like um s- as humans we're so different, so each business is so different as well. And even if we might have same brands or the same, I don't know, modalities, treatments, classical massage, but how I can make my classical massage unique to my property and my business,
Mm.
what unique touch points I can add to the guest journey. I don't know, maybe it's after drink, maybe it's like certain design elements, and we can go deeper and deeper. But yeah, don't be everything for everyone. And yeah, knowing those principles and your core, I think, is number one.
Yeah, I like that. Don't be everything for everyone. I like that. That's it. Oh, Patricia,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I've really enjoyed the presentation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you.